Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Mystery Sports Podcast. And today it's a weird one because I'm doing the preview for all the Premier League games, well, predictions, should I say, for the Premier League games now. Like, it's a Thursday evening. Like, who would have thought I'd be doing this? But it's because Manchester United do play on the Friday, well, tomorrow at 8 o'clock against Bournemouth. Sorry, my throat is really dry. Yeah, so United are playing tomorrow night against Bournemouth, Friday night football. We've not had that in a while. And I've got to kind of do the preview now and predictions for that, what I think will happen in that game. And, we'll discuss a bit about Michael Carrick's comments in his press conference yesterday. We'll talk a little bit about the Champions League and compare it to my predictions, what I did earlier on in the week, and also go through what I think will happen in the other results. So if we first get on with it really straight away, we'll look at the United game. It's United versus Bournemouth, as you guys can see there. And, you can see the current form that both sides are in. Bournemouth, not obviously unbeaten in their 5 games. I think they're actually further um, unbeaten in more games. I'm not too sure. But, that one win there in Everton, but it's just all been draws. So it's not the best of reading. You don't want 2-0 draws, 1-1 there, and another 0-0 against West Ham. So it's not good reading for Bournemouth, but I think Bournemouth is one of those weird teams, like a bogey team for United. It's like Brighton, where United can definitely go and lose, and we saw it early on in the season when we drew 4-4 with them. It was a very good game, and I think if I'm thinking back from last time what happened in that game, I remember me saying that I was kind of happy with the United result because we played good football. We scored four, but we conceded four. That was obviously a negative. But I think United do look strong in this. Bournemouth not very strong, could we say? I think it could be one of those bogey teams that United do come across under Carrick, obviously in the running of the season now. However, I do think United will win this game. And you just look at there and the form that we're in at the moment. That one loss in five there. It was obviously to Newcastle, getting back to winning ways very comfortably against Aston Villa, should we say, in that second half, because that's how well United played. 3-1 win there. Wins there against Everton and Palace. Then obviously the draw against West Ham. It is good reading for United. Like, we can't say it's bad. If we look at the table, you can see United obviously sat in third place there, looking to stretch the advantage over Aston Villa. Hopefully, get that to 6 points if obviously United to win and West Ham were to beat Villa. So we can stretch more of a gap from Liverpool and Chelsea. So Liverpool drawing to Spurs on the weekend. They've got Brighton this weekend. Could be a tough game away at the Amex. Chelsea playing Everton away as well. So Everton aren't the best of forms. Chelsea looked rubbish yesterday against, not yesterday, sorry, when they played PSG on Tuesday night. So anything can really happen in this. We don't know. And obviously the top two are in the Carabao Cup final. And if you haven't seen the preview for that, it's in the link in the description below. I definitely recommend having a check at that because I'm not just with myself, I'm with a special guest. So it's good to see his, obviously, good for you to see his reaction and things to that, to what he thinks will happen in the game, because he's an Arsenal fan. And it's surprising. It's surprising, to be fair. But United can close that gap to City. I don't think United will get second place. Anything can happen though. But let's say we close the gap on City with a win. Would be good to obviously get that gap down. But really, United got to win. We win, go to 57 points, looking good. Probably nailed on top four. It's a 93% chance for top four. I think, we win this, and I think you can 100% say, I mean, I've been saying it for quite a few weeks now, that United will get Champions League football next year. And I think that's what United need to do. And, you can see Bournemouth there in 10th. I'll just scroll down so you can see how many points they're on. We'll keep Brentford in the frame there. So, Bournemouth on 41, 42 for Newcastle, 43, 45 for Brentford. Bournemouth, if they were to win, for example, they'd go to 44, they'd go above, obviously, Everton, but all the other teams have got to play after on the Saturday and Sunday. But if I'm being realistic, I'm going to go with a 3-1 win to United. I think United will turn up. We look good under Carrick. I think Shesko will be a very key role, and when we go through the team news, I will tell you why I've not gone or what I'm going to do with Shesko. Obviously, Newcastle having a huge game, the derby against Sunderland. Sunderland slipped off into 13, not the best of positions for them, but we'll go on to them in a second. Um, but you can see, you know, for Bournemouth, if they were to obviously get a win or get a point, then they close that gap onto Brentford, who are in seventh position. Obviously, Everton and Newcastle, they would be level on points, but behind on goal difference. I think for Bournemouth, it's one of those games that if they win, well done to them, and they can take a lot of confidence into that. Um, I think for United, it's more about you win this and you're 100% guaranteed top four. And it's these types of games there. You can turn up against like the Villas, the Cities, the Arsenals, the Chelseas of the world, but you need to turn up for these. Not, I'm no disrespect to Bournemouth, but those lower stake games, like where there's not much pressure on United, United will expect it to win. Whereas against like the top six teams, United are like, oh, anyone can really win here. So it's just basically on the mentality of the players and if they can turn up for that game. In terms of the lineup, then, so what I'm going to do with my predictions for that, as you can see, it's the same as I predicted, and it's the same 11 that Michael Carrick took and started with against who did we play? Villa. Wow, I just forgot who we played on weekend. But yeah, no, sure. I think Lemon's in there. I think solid. Yoro Maguire look decent at the back. Maguire's arguably our best centre half right now. Delo and Shaw as the fullbacks. Casemiro and Mainu in the midfield. One more year, Casemiro, hopefully. Cunha, Bruno Ahmad, and Mpuemo up top. No Shesko. Why is that? I've only gone no Shesko just because I think that Shesko is a very, very good super sub and he creates chaos. And that's what United do need. If we can have that chaos coming off the bench, I think it just brings a new kind of tactic or like opportunity for United to use. Or like it's like an ace in the pack, isn't it? You stick Shesko on and he scores. Or he causes a bit of chaos. You put the ball into the box. And that's what I thought we saw against Villa, that, you know, you have the pace in Cunha and Bremo, Amada Fernandez. But if that's not working, or let's say it's 1-1 on Friday, and we're chasing the game and we're putting crosses into the box, that's when you stick Shesko on, whenever that time is, before the hour mark, really, or ideally, and you stick crosses in the box, he gets his head on it, or he does what he did against Villa, where it was a bit of a scrappy goal, you ride your luck as a striker, which all strikers do, even Erling Haaland does, and you just put the ball in the back of the net. That's his job at the end of the day. So that's why I've gone with them. I've obviously gone with a 3-1, and I've not put the goals on there for you. So if I'm going to go with goals, I'm going to go Bruno, as you can see I'm doing now. I think I'm going to go, not Casemiro. I'm going to go Mbeumo. I think Mbeumo will get a goal. And I also think Sheshko will as well on the bench, getting back-to-back goals again for Benjamin Sheshko. So as you can see from the start in the lineup, I've gone with Bruno and Mbeumo to get goals. And I've also gone with Sheshko to come off the bench and score for United. I think that's what will work in our favour, as we say. Just on other team news and injury news, should we say, from what Carrick said in his press conference yesterday. So, Nuz Mazraoui missed training due to an illness. He could be in the squad. I reckon he'll be a sub alongside Mason Mount, who was in part of training as well this week. As Michael Carrick said, it's unlikely that he would start in the game. Will be an unused. He could be an unused sub. I reckon he might get a few minutes if United are winning. Lisandro Martinez will be out again. How serious is this injury? We don't really know to extent how serious this kind of injury is for Lisandro. However, a lot of people are saying, and Man United are saying, that he should be available for the game after, obviously, we had a 23 gap break, which is ridiculous for United. Obviously, you got international break, but no FA Cup. So 23 days gap. So he should be ready for, I think it's the Leeds game after when we come back. So that game there. And yeah, it should be good. Mateus De Ligt and Patrick Dorgu are both currently out. They're quite further down in terms of like the injury of that. We've not seen Mateus De Ligt, I think, is over 4 months, which is absolutely mental what's happening there. We still don't even know a date where he's realistically going to come back. So it's a bit what's happening here. Hopefully he gets back. He's got 23 days to get himself further along this kind of rehab and recovery stage. Same with obviously Dorgu, but we know Dorgu's situation is quite difficult. Well, obviously it was quite difficult. 10 weeks or so, it was saying. Michael Carrick did say that Matea, meaning Delit, is frustrating with his injury because it's like he's a very crucial player. And, I think we all know how good Delit is, and it is a shame that he is out. But I think it's just one of those things, isn't it? And a player's out injured, what will happen to him? And I think United now aren't rushing their players back as we used to do. Because I remember a couple seasons ago, Rashford would rush back with his back injury, came out saying, I'm still carrying this injury and I'm playing with an injury. So it's not good. So hopefully, and from the looks of it, we didn't rush Bruno back. We've not rushed Martinez back. And same with Mount, and hopefully same with Delit and Dorgu. But enough about United. I said 3-1. Hopefully we'll win. I think we will win. I think it should be good. We'll go on to the other Premier League matches this weekend. So, sorry. So as you can see, I've gone with well, geez, my voice is actually going. Obviously, United, Bournemouth, I've gone 3-1 to United. Brighton versus Liverpool. I think this is a game where Liverpool will need to win, obviously, dropping points at home to Spurs, having a great win yesterday against Galatasaray. However, I do think this will be a draw. I don't think Liverpool are in the best of shapes or best of form at this moment in time. And a lot of people are Arnie Slot out from a couple of Liverpool fans I know. So I'm going to go with a 1-1 there. Fulham, Burnley. I'm going to go 2-1 to Fulham. I think Burnley will score. Burnley look okay. They're down, aren't they, realistically? And I think if you are watched, blah, 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 if you have watched the Carabao Cup preview, or if you haven't, definitely go check that out. Well, as I said before, link in the description below. Andy did say that Burnley, if they're not careful, Wolves might finish above them in 19th place. So something which is a bit of a bold statement and definitely could happen. City versus Palace, obviously postponed because of the Carabao Cup. Um, Chelsea versus Everton, the half-hour kickoff. I'm going to go with a Chelsea win 2-1 there. Leeds versus Brentford, the 8 o'clock kickoff. I will go with a 2-1 win to Leeds. Leeds at home, different side. Brentford are very good, chasing for that European spot, and definitely possibly could happen. Newcastle Sunderland on Sunday. This is obviously the derby, probably the biggest game of the weekend. Well, it is the biggest game of the weekend, bar the final. 12 o'clock kickoff there. Weird kickoff time on a Sunday. However, I'm going to go with a 2-0 win to Newcastle. Villa versus West Ham. I think West Ham are looking to obviously stay up. I think they will stay up. As I've said previously, I think Spurs will go down. But I'm going to go with, I think Villa obviously need to kick back on after obviously losing to United. And, they do play tonight. So I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw there. And then again, the last game, Spurs versus Forest, I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw there as well. I think Spurs, if they carry on playing how they played yesterday, then they definitely could stay up. However, I don't think they can maintain that. I don't think the players care enough to wanting to put these kind of shifts in, because I think a lot of them are probably mentally wise. Like, if we do go down, I will get a move. Like Kulusevski will get a move, Berg will get a move, Romero, Van de Ven, they'll all get moves. Madison as well. So I'm going to go 1-1 there, and I think it just sets up for that relegation battle a bit more tasty and a bit more interesting, because if you see here, you can all see that Spurs, sat on 30 points. If they get a draw with Forest, they go 1 point ahead, stay 1 point ahead. Forest go on to 30. West Ham, if they were to beat Villa, they go out of the drop, don't they? And I think they push for it. Yeah, they will push. They'll go ahead of Liverpool, which is mental. And Leeds as well. Leeds have got to be careful. 32 points, not looking good there, but I think they should be safe. I think Daniel Farker should have them. Should have them like cooked. Well, not cooked, but okay. Really. Champions League, if we go on to that, so if I get up the scores from yesterday, we will be able to see that, we'll be able to see some of the things here. Why can't I show you my screen here? There you go. I think you guys can see that. Yeah, so as you can see, obviously, Chelsea battered by um, Paris Saint-Germain, so they go through. Liverpool uh, comfortably beating Galatasaray 4-0. They set up that semi-final there. I predicted that right. I also did predict the Madrid game right as well. I think City, they've got to focus on this league now. Bayern smashing, 10-2 on aggregate. Unbelievable stuff. Um, Barca, wow, battered, battered Newcastle 7-2, and Spurs winning. They played very good football yesterday. I got I've got everything right so far in my predictions. Barca versus Atletico, I think that was a no-brainer. Should be a good tie, all Spanish affair there. And this is the one where I didn't predict right. I predicted obviously Arsenal to go through. I think that was inevitable. But Sporting winning 5-0 against Bodo Glimt, it was just unreal from Sporting Lisbon. And it sets up a tasty encounter against Arsenal. So, it's all pretty good. We will do when the next round of Champions League games do come around. We will do a predictions for that, like I've done previously. But Paris versus Liverpool, good game. Real Bayern, great game, you could say. Barca Atletico, all Spanish affair, and Arsenal versus Sporting is another great game. I think what will happen now is that we will see a lot of the sides. Well, you'll see the true sides with the best quality and who can win um, games when it really matters. And obviously, Arsenal still on for the quad. Don't think it will happen. A miracle if that were to happen. I mean, fair play if they obviously kick it underway against City on the weekend, but should be all good. Just to round up though quickly, obviously United think they're going to win 3-1. We'll be doing a match reaction tomorrow evening, so stay tuned in for that straight after the game. Carabao Cup final, I predicted City to win. If you haven't watched the video, like I said at the start of the stream, check the link in the description, click on that, have a listen to my opinion on the final, and also Andy's special guest predictions as well as an Arsenal fan. And Champions League's happened, and it's a good weekend of football. Really, we've got quite a bit going on, especially with WSL as well. City versus United at Old Trafford should be a good game. Hopefully, both United sides can win. Should be very, very good. But thank you all for watching. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video, and share to all your family and friends. Catch you on a bit.